Okay, we're back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Speech. Everybody had a survivable weekend, it looks like, or most of you did anyway. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're missing some folks today. I wondered how it would come out when I said, okay, you got to have a proposal for your argumentative speech starting on Monday. And proposal just means tell us what you're going to be talking about. What are you going to be arguing? Give us a chance to provide you some feedback and an opportunity for you to really justify what you're talking about. For those of you that are watching at home and you perhaps weren't even here last Wednesday, if you go back to last Wednesday's class, which should be online as far as I know, I haven't checked, that there's the lecture that you need for this particular presentation. And as I've mentioned before, this particular subject should be a little bit challenging. It should challenge us as listeners. So there are many different current events we could bring up right now to say whether they're appropriate or not, whether they're right or not. Should we argue for something? Should we argue against something? And I'm always cautious on TV about what I bring up because you never know who's watching and how they'll take what we say out of context here, because a lot of people, when they watch TV, they don't really watch the whole show. They're just scrolling by, and all of a sudden they catch somebody talking about something that they don't really have the context for. The next thing you know, somebody's calling the television station saying, why is that professor or why are those students talking about that subject? Well, because it's a speech class about persuasive topics and argumentative topics. So what I'm going to do is just give everybody a chance before I talk too much more, because I want everybody to have a chance to go through. Now, I don't know who's first. I have to go look at my thing, the roster. Marianne, are you ready to talk about anything? Good. Well, come on up here and let's see what you have going on. Your foot's working okay? Mostly? I see.
Besides that, so.
Good. Well, looks like you're moving around okay.
So, my proposal for the argumentative essay, I'm gonna argue that AI should only assist in medical decision making and not take over. There's been some recent, and I got this idea because there's been recent case studies where AI has made errors in hospitals where it'll make the error and the doctors or the healthcare staff won't double check it, and then that ends up causing the patient under their care to be sacrificed. So basically just arguing that AI should only there should be checks and it shouldn't be completely AI takeover, just integrated assist, just like how it is in school. You should use it as a tool and not something to take over. Because I think there was a survey done, it was 1 in 5 doctors or healthcare staff reported that they used AI and it ended up being proven wrong later, but they didn't double check it, if that makes sense. So it was malpractice essentially.
Okay.
They just completely trusted AI, and then later ended up being proven wrong.
Okay.
And then but they did double check their work.
Okay, so how about robot surgeries? Does that count as AI? Well, let's say a surgeon is way far away and they're kind of operating the equipment via technology. And so this surgery is happening in a location where there is no surgeon. So would that fall in that realm?
I think I would probably be discussing more medical diagnoses and patient autonomy rather than the surgery. Because I think robotic surgery it's been around a little bit. I mean, it is AI in a sense, but it's been around more integrated into medicine longer than the new in the sense that now you can go, you don't even have to see your doctor anymore. You could just go online and get an AI doctor or whatever, basically saying no, don't do that, you have to have somebody checking. But I feel I could include, I feel even robotic surgeries, they should be monitored.
Okay.
They shouldn't just be alone like a robot and no other staff in there. That's kind of wild. But but also in the sense, I don't know, I probably wouldn't include that in because it's more I would probably discuss more about like medical decision making,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
And what's your personal investment in this whole situation?
I just think it's interesting. I don't know the way that or how AI is gonna affect a lot of people's jobs in the future, I guess. So using it as a tool, and I also think I have a very strong opinion that AI should never fully take over medicine. Whereas like I would probably have a different opinion that it would be more applicable to taking over coding or
Okay.
IT or something. But I feel like when it goes into other like patient care, I feel like
Do
AI
you have
should only
plans
be
to go in the
assisting.
medical profession?
Yeah, I want to do physician assistant.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere
Oh,
with
yeah.
regard to your personal investment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, I've
that's how
already
you
said
really
that.
want to set that up.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
then also you're going to want to look up, usually using AI, what's the future of AI for a physician's assistant? You know,
Yeah.
will they still need physician's assistants? I'm going to say yes, but you're going to want to kind of run that through the mill as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's give her a hand for getting up there first. This is just your proposal. Let's see who else. Jasmine, I know, is not here today. Grace, what do you have for us? Okay, so this is the, oops. We're going to go with proposal on this.
So I was thinking that I would talk about is it important to assimilate when you move to a new country and the good parts of it and the bad parts of it. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because my grandma and her mom and they all came here from Russia, from a war camp and stuff like that. And then also my mom and me, we work a lot with the Afghan refugees that live in my town and help teach them English and stuff like that. And just the challenges about trying to assimilate to a new country and stuff like that.
Okay, so you've given your personal investment, but I'm still a little vague on your actual argument.
Just is it important to assimilate, learn a new language and stuff without, and then not getting rid of your culture, but incorporating it? Or should you just
Flip a switch and go the other way?
yeah.
Okay, and so which side are you going to come down on?
I'm thinking more incorporate it and bring both of them together rather than having to stay in the old way or pick the new side, just kind of merging them together.
Okay, and what would be the argument for the other side of leaving the old behind?
If you leave the old behind, then you're losing part of yourself. But if you don't incorporate any of the new, then you can't fully live normally, I guess, in your new environment.
Okay. Okay, so you've given us a personal investment. I think you have an okay thesis. And you've shown us that you have both sides of the situation. So I think that's all good. Any questions from anybody? Have you learned any Afghan language?
Not a whole lot, but I do know that the thumbs up is the equivalent of the middle finger. So when you're good job,
Oh,
it's kind of awkward. So yeah.
There's some nonverbal communication for you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, thank you, Grace. Yay. Caden, what do you have for us today?
I'm not quite ready.
Well, what are you going to argue? What's your subject matter?
I don't know yet.
Well, get on up there and let's grill you a little bit. Just for fun. That way you can say you did something. We're going to pull it out of you. This is an old method. Okay, so number one, when we come to class, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, so this being the persuasive essay, what are a couple things you feel passionately about?
Golf?
Okay, golf.
Yeah.
What is going on in golf right now that's a controversy? The Live Tour? Do you know about that? The Saudi Arabian Tour, how they took all the people from the PGA and they paid them more money to go over there. Should people go to Saudi Arabia and play
That is
golf
a
for
good
millions
topic.
of dollars when it's an oppressive country that's discriminates against women and other religions and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Free market, or should they not do
I
that?
think free market.
Okay, so your argument would be they should go play wherever they can.
Yeah.
What other golf controversies are there?
Um,
Can you think of any?
I can't off the top of my head.
Okay, so golf is the thing that you like the most.
Yeah.
What else is like the least bit controversial in your life at your school? Like where you go to school? Does anybody disagree about stuff? Should the teachers have reserved parking spots? Should high school seniors have reserved parking spots in the parking lot?
Yeah, I think so.
They should be?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so now you're getting somewhere. All right. How about, what about college? Should everybody go to college?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Because there's other jobs outside of college.
So the famous thing is that you go to college and you run up a bunch of debt and you can't get a job because you have a college degree.
Yeah.
So what you should have done was gone and gotten a blue collar job so you can have some dependable income. But then when you top out of that dependable income, meaning you can only make so much, someone will say you should have gone to college and
Yeah.
got more of an education. That way you can make more money.
Yeah.
So which side do you come down on?
College side.
College side.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think college should be free for everybody?
No.
Why not?
Because then everybody would go, and then there wouldn't be any blue collar jobs. Because everybody would just go
Okay.
to college.
Okay, so when we get to this argument point, it needs to be something that's important to you,
Okay.
something you have an investment in. So you have golf that's part of your world.
Yeah.
So if you can't really find an argument in that particular realm, then you got to look outside of that. So then it's like, what's in your life? Like are you going to be 18 soon?
Yes.
Should you be able to vote?
No.
You shouldn't be able to vote at 18?
No.
So you think the voting age should be what? 21?
21. I don't
Okay.
really pay attention to politics though. So.
What's that?
I don't really pay attention to like
Okay.
politics.
Well, should if there's a war, should you be drafted
Yeah.
if you're 18? Okay, so you can be drafted, but you shouldn't be able to
Yeah.
vote?
Yeah.
What about alcohol? Can you drink when you're 21 or should it be lower?
I think it should be lower.
Okay, wait a minute. So you can drink and you can learn to kill somebody, but you can't vote at age 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see how the holes are not holding up there. All right. Well then, I'm gonna let you go, but at the same time, you need to be thinking about this.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So let's give him a hand for getting grilled and surviving it. Who else? Alyssa? What do you have for us today?
So I'm going to talk about why agriculture isn't like the environmental villain. So basically, like, cattle isn't causing climate change, basically. And my viewpoint, like how this impacts me is that I grew up on a farm and we have like more than 100 head of cattle, so.
Okay, so you got some facts for us?
I can read it. I just didn't want to read it, but I can.
Well, tell us.
Okay, my speech is about why animal agriculture isn't the big environmental villain it's often made out to be. A lot of people blame livestock for climate change, but the truth is more complicated. I'm going to explain why the impact is smaller than most think, how responsible farming can actually help the environment, and why animal agriculture can be part of the solution and not just the problem.
Okay, what's the opposite side of that?
Well, people say that, like, cattle, when they defecate, make, like, a big impact of how the climate change is being taken, I guess.
Well, is it true?
It is true, but it's not making as big of an impact as people are making out to be.
Okay, so you're going to bring us some facts, right? So I'm just looking things up here. It says beef production is one of the largest sources of greenhouse gases in agriculture. Cattle emit methane, which traps more heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. So, is that true? I
In a sense.
Okay, so raising cattle requires vast amounts of land and large quantities of water. What some people say is that you should pay more taxes because you're growing cattle. You think you should pay more taxes?
No, because what are you going to eat?
Well, not everybody eats beef.
Okay, but animal-wise, I
Well.
guess if you don't eat
Yeah, I'm just curious. Well, I'm
But
just
then there's also farming land, so when we grow crops, we're also using.
well.
just
Now
as
you're
much
getting
land.
somewhere. So because eventually you have to get some protein somehow. So the question is, I'm just looking at why others oppose it. In places like Oklahoma, cattle ranching is central to local economies and the identity. So a meat tax could hurt rural communities and small family farmers and that kind of thing. So it would be negative. And food sovereignty, which is what? You can eat what you want. Unless you're Bailey, she can't eat whatever she wants.
Yeah.
But, most other people, not to call you out or anything, but we know that already from your speeches. So you might think in terms of what the real counter arguments are, because
Okay.
it does get pretty serious. Is there a reason why it's still 80 degrees in the middle of October? Is it just a normal climate swing? Or are things really happening on the planet that are changing our environment? So some would say that industrial agriculture has something to do with this. So you got to make sure you bring facts and bring the opposite side as well. Okay? And obviously you have a personal investment because you're family. So that's good. So I think it's a really good argument. But we want you to get a little deeper into it. Okay? Any questions from anybody? Okay, move on. Little, yay! Sorry, a little dad joke there. Couldn't help it. All right, let's see who's next. Bailey is up next. First Bailey.
Okay, I was gonna argue that the Earth is round.
Wait, say that again?
The Earth. I was gonna argue that it's round.
I don't think that's a good argument.
That's not a good one?
No.
Okay.
I don't think there's any doubt that it's round.
Well, I met someone who gave me a bunch of points, and I was gonna list each point,
Right.
and
I don't
Can't
think
do
so.
that one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Remember, you want to make sure it's something that's like I go back to your dietary stuff. Is sugar evil? Well, then there's your argument. And so something like that.
okay.
Where you're talking about something that really impacts our lives, like what's going to happen? What are you going to do to us at the end of the speech to encourage us to take action? Like, how are we going to take action against somebody who thinks the world is not
I
round?
said, don't believe the internet. Do
Don't
your
believe the
research.
internet?
Do your research.
Now you're getting into a different realm. Okay, whether or not you should believe AI or ChatGPT, or kind of what Marianne was saying earlier, is like physicians are using ChatGPT to get information and not checking it. And we've seen some attorneys do that now, where they've used ChatGPT to create their legal case. They get to court and there's something wrong with it because they didn't really check it.
That was my argument, because he showed me an AI video of the Earth being flat,
Right.
and I was gonna use that.
Well, I think you're also in good realm there, like AI videos. Like should we talked about this last week, should an AI video have a little watermark on it so you know that it's AI? I mean, that's kind of an argument. Some would say no because it's art, and you as a person should be able to decide whether it's real or not. So, what's your personal investment in all this situation anyway?
I had it written down, but I forgot. I think it was.
Well, you're a college student, so you're using AI, presumably, on some kind of basis. And going forward, it's going to have some impact on your professional world, what's going to be your specialty? Do you know yet?
HR.
In HR, it's definitely going to have an impact on HR. So I think the AI stuff is really interesting, and it's unknown. And there's a lot of people who think different things about it. Talk about, like what Alyssa was saying about the environment. The negatives on the environment are pretty extreme now. Here over in Pryor, we have one of the largest Google server farms or buildings, whatever they call it, in the world. And it's using a lot of water over there and a lot of electricity. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, it gives you an answer. You just use some water and electricity. So what are going to be the long-term negative impacts of AI? Or will there not be any? So if you're going to get into the realm of science and AI and the internet, you might think about something like that, as opposed just to a world is round, world is flat kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's about all I have to say about that one. So you need to think some more about it, I guess. So we're going to check back in with everybody in the next class, so keep thinking about it. Okay? All right, let's give her a hand for getting up there and giving it a shot. It's not easy. Who's next on the hit parade here? Kendall's not here, Jesse's not here, Hunter is here. What are you gonna talk to us about, Hunter? Then David, then Kelsey, then Cooper, then Chia. then
I'm going
Bailey.
to talk about minimum wage.
Okay,
How it should
good
be
one.
How it should be adjusted to the cost of living for full-time workers.
Good subject.
Yeah.
What's your personal investment?
Say that one more time.
What's your personal investment? Why do you care?
Why do I care? I mean, I'm a worker myself. I want to be able to afford my cost of living.
Okay,
And the average cost of living in the US is about $21 to $25 per hour. And that's not the minimum wage.
right, here in Oklahoma, it's what, 750 or 7?
Yeah, $7.50 or $7.25 if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. So,
Okay,
anyways.
I like that. What's the opposite side of that?
the opposite side.
Like, why should you not do it?
More taxes and more people would. I haven't really thought about that side.
Okay, well, you need to
should.
have that side too. Like, it's up to a business to determine what they can
Yeah.
afford and how much they want to pay. What obligation do they have to someone who's working for them? And when you say you need 21 to 25 an hour, well, that's maybe, it kind of depends on your living situation.
Yes.
But I would break down like, okay, what is full-time pay minimum wage for 1 week?
For 1 week, it's probably about 600 for minimum wage.
Well, if you make $7.50 an hour, you work 8 hours, that's what, $64 times 5 is like $320.
And
Times
two-
4 is $1,200. Take your 15% out of each one of those hundreds, and meaning take $15 out of each one. Now you got to go back the other way. So you think you're really making like $1,100 a month. Well, I don't know if you looked up how much an apartment costs to rent these days. It's like $1,000 just to get an apartment, basically, unless you're gonna live in squalor studio apartment in a
Yeah.
bad part of town. You might get 600 or 700 maybe.
Maybe.
So if you're making 1,100 a month and your apartment costs, let's say low end 700, 800, how much does your phone bills cost? 100 a month?
Normally 50 to 100.
Okay. So now you're up to like what, 800 right there. How about your water bill, electric bill, trash?
Well, electric depends on how much electric you're using. And
What
water.
season it is?
It should be, water's gonna be a lot lower than electric. It'll be probably $20 if it's just one person. That'll be max. And electric will probably be 300 max for
Could
one
be in the
person.
summertime. Now you've already gotten to your 1,100.
Yeah.
So you haven't even paid for your car payment or insurance or bought any food yet.
Nope.
So that's what you kind of want to frame this argument as. So, you're a person who's working, but you also want to be able to afford life.
Yeah.
And a little refresher on how much it costs. That's why you're in college, so hopefully you get a better than minimum wage job. So we didn't even get halfway through your expenses and we're at what you make in 1
Yeah.
month. So you really need 2 minimum wage jobs at 40 hours a week just to kind of pay all the bills. So, okay, I think that's a good argument. All right, we'll see how it goes. Let's give him a hand. Hunter, way to go. David, can't wait to see what you got lined up for us.
I want to talk about how I believe people over the age of 75 should be taking tests so you can determine if they can drive or not.
Okay.
I was thinking about this when I was driving here because like I'm kind of really passionate about this one because I've been having really bad experiences on the road, and when I look over when I'm driving, it's always like a grandma over here. And I work with older people. I do in-home care. So for me, I know that their brain stops working in certain areas after a certain age. So that's why I believe there should be a test, not just like cut them off.
Right.
But after retirement age, I feel like they should be tested for cognitive function and every 5 years until 75, and then trying to shorten that time period until they're 85 and then so on every year.
Okay, interesting.
I do believe that because I hate driving and somebody does some stupid stuff and I'm like, are they drunk? Are you crazy? What are you doing? Swerving off the road, coming back, trying to hit me? And I look over, it's a grandma. No disrespect to older people. I love older people. They're awesome.
Well, you're working with them, so.
I work with them. I love it. I love my job. But that's my stance.
Okay, so what's the opposite side of that?
What about people that are older and they can't afford to have somebody come take care of them and they don't have family that's going to take care of them?
Now that's a good one, because I don't know.
Okay, well, that's your challenge, is to get on the other side of this question.
Yeah.
Because you've got your side, which is all fine. But just like Alyssa's saying over there may be situations where a person has to drive almost no matter their age, but still yet. And should that extend across the board? Should it be more than driving? Should it be voting?
I feel like I could get into government jobs, but I don't want to get political.
Okay, well, stick with your driver's test then. But
Yeah.
are there other things that should be limited by age?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you might bring that in. But I think that the driver test is a pretty good one. You have an investment in it. What you're lacking right now is the other side of the argument. And some data, some facts.
Yeah, I'll get into
How
it.
many drivers there are, how many accidents there are, that kind of thing. Okay? All right, let's give him a hand. Finally had another arguer. Alyssa over there jumped in. Like, some backup. Kelsey. Let's see what Kelsey has for us today.
Today I'm going to talk about how colleges should provide free access to textbooks and course materials.
Okay.
Colleges should, oh my gosh, I can't talk, I'm sorry. Colleges should provide free course materials because it lowers financial barriers some students may have, and it also improves the outcomes of graduation and student success. According to some data I've found from the Education Data Initiative, it says the average cost of college, the average cost of college has doubled in the 21st century. College students spend an average of $1,220 on their college textbooks and materials, which can add up to about $5,000 if you do a 4-year college program. Personally, I've been very blessed to have scholarships that help me with my tuition from like Cherokees and things like that, but I know a lot of my friends and like roommate that have to pay out of pocket because they don't have that privilege, they don't have the right criteria that fit into scholarships, which can add up to a lot of debt in the future that they'll have to bring on as well. The opponents argue that this is expensive for colleges to have to provide all of this college tuition, textbooks and course material for all these students that are coming in. And they also say that it could lower the quality of the course material that they give out. And so that's my thing.
Okay, your investment obviously is your college student, even though you've mentioned some of your stuff gets paid for.
If I didn't have those scholarships, if they somehow went away, I would have to pay for all of this
Right.
by hand, so.
I don't know that it's necessarily a bad argument. I'm just trying to think of how that would really work. Because somebody has to pay for that material somewhere. And different materials cost different amounts of money. So science books are often more expensive. The nursing textbooks, my understanding, are very expensive down there. So I don't know exactly how you would do that.
And I'll do more research on it and I'll bring it back, but.
Okay, I think it's an interesting idea. Anybody else? All right, let's let her go. Way to go. That's why I didn't ask y'all to get a textbook, by the way. You notice you didn't have to get the textbook in this class. You could have. I was trying to bring the cost down for you. Cooper, let's see what you have. And then it'll be Chia and Bailey. Everybody's gonna make it in today.
Hello guys, so my speech will be over talking about why we should remove unnecessary classes as needed credits in high school. I don't know about y'all's high school, but my high school we needed to take a tech class and an art class and a Spanish class, and I just don't think that that's vital to an education. I know that you will have certain situations where you have to deal with tech along the way, or maybe talk to somebody in Spanish. But I think that we should replace them with adult information classes like learning how to do tax returns or even little things like changing tires and paying bills. I think that that's vital because that's all something that we will have to do within the next 5 to 10 years. And my reason behind this is many of us, or very little of us, will go to France or ever have common coincidences where we interact with people in a foreign language. But also at the same time, not a lot of us will go into art or tech fields as well. So I just don't think that's a thing that we should have to stick to for 9 months and kind of dedicate our life to that class when it's just not something that we will go through in the future.
Okay, so I'm trying to get a fix on this. So what your argument is going to be is that high schools should not require some of these courses that you've had to take, tech class, language class,
Yes, sir.
and you think they should emphasize financial literacy and practical skills.
Yes, sir.
What is the other side of that?
Well, the other side of that could be that little percentage in the population that are going into art fields. Maybe that's something that you want to get an early start on before college. So that could be the other side, and I can use that as an argumentative side in my speech.
Okay, how about the well-rounded person? Like, you know, when you get a degree here at the university level, you have to take your general education requirements. There's a humanities element, there's a global studies requirement, physical science, biological science, history, political science, English, speech. So the whole idea, a quote, liberal arts education, is so that when you come out, you're a well-rounded person. So what about that part? For those people who aren't going to college, high school is their only opportunity.
Yeah, well, I can get the well-rounded aspect, but also at the same time, most of us will, once we go into the field that we're getting our degree for, or actually like plan on going into after high school, like you were mentioning blue collar, how many blue collar guys go into blue collar and then leave and then go into office jobs? You know what I'm saying? So just the well-rounded, I don't think is a vital aspect to success when we all plan going into these fields and then staying true to them throughout our lives.
Okay. I think all that is really interesting. I was just looking quickly because I've done a lot of language work, and language learning does strengthen your brain. It improves memory, multitasking, problem solving, even creativity. And bilingual individuals often have a better focus and delayed onset of cognitive decline later in life. So it's not just learning another culture, you're actually stretching your brain out. And I just use language as an example because there are many other things that stretch your brain out as well. David?
I was gonna add on to that. I speak Spanish. That's my first language, and the Spanish classes here suck. You're not learning anything, so I think it's all bull. Like you should not. You're wasting people's time with that. You learn a language by speaking it, not really by classroom stuff. So.
Well, that's a whole other argument, and I think that could be an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
So I think that you have a good argument going there. I just want to make sure you have enough on the other side to fight it back.
Yes, sir.
So, and I like what you're saying, financial literacy, changing a tire. Who was it? Alyssa, was it you that couldn't change a tire in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember there was I was thinking it was you. That idea that you should learn how to change a tire maybe when you're in high school.
Just do those little things that'll help you.
Yeah,
Be
operate a
more prepared
checkbook.
for the future.
All that kind of thing. So I think that those are okay. You're a high school student, or you're a college student who's been in high school, so that's your investment, and maybe you feel a little shortchanged by your high school
Yes, sir.
experience.
I feel a little bit unprepared going
Yeah.
into the future, and I
Okay.
think that's something that we should change for sure.
I think that's a good setup. I'm a high school graduate, and I feel a little underprepared. If my dad weren't a financial person, then I wouldn't even know that,
Yes, sir.
about that stuff. So I think that would be good. Okay, I think that's all. Let's give him a hand. And Elaine, Chia, you already know you're next. And then Bailey.
I'm gonna talk about, is TikTok a reliable information source? Because like I feel like I'm very online. I'm always on TikTok and I always get news on there, and I don't know if I can tell if it's like real or not because of how fast the information spread. And especially with the AI stuff right now and the deepfakes and everything that's making people look really real and stuff, it's kind of hard to tell which one is real or not, and especially how fast the news spreads too. So
Okay, so we're talking about where you get your news information from. And the question is, and your argument will be, is TikTok a reliable source of news or not?
no.
No. Okay.
I mean, it depends on what it is, like the source.
the source, right? So if you're watching ABC News or CNN or one of those, you might think this is actual footage. But sometimes you see a video on there that you don't know if it's really real or not. That gets back to kind of what Mary Ann was saying, which is, and actually Bailey, we got into that with her as well, that should you have some kind of denotation that that thing is AI or made by Sonos or whatever the video maker is.
Yeah, I feel like some people, I don't feel like some people can tell whether it's AI or not, because for AI, it's a lot more like, they're not really real, so you can kind of tell the subtle difference of it in it. But a lot of people can't tell in it, so I guess we do need that. But it's just the source and everything that's in TikTok because of how fast fake news can go through and misinformation and all that stuff.
Now, are you going to get into the ownership of TikTok and the algorithm and how they decide what we get to see and all of that? Like you have to live in a certain geographic area to get news from that area?
I was gonna say that, but it kind of like slipped my mind. But it is depends on what people like, because like it depends on what people like. Like if you like this certain thing, it will only show up that part. Like it will only show around that area of what people like, and it will probably never show the other parts of it. So
What do you think are the benefits of gathering news from TikTok?
it kind of helps spread it faster, and it helps bring like a voice to people. And yeah.
That wouldn't otherwise have it because they're able to get their message out about
Yeah.
what's happening in their community or their environment
Yeah.
in ways they couldn't otherwise. Okay. And your personal investment is that you're just a user of TikTok and you're trying to keep up to date with things, and so that's what you look at sometimes. And you're going to argue that it is or is not a verifiable source of news depending on the source.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I'm curious to see how that one comes out. I like the AI stuff because it's all around us now. I need to give you all a week to get this ready. We'll have a few more proposals on Wednesday. We'll start next week. Okay, Bailey.
Okay. So the topic I'm choosing for this is it ethical to use animals in scientific research and animal testing? So my relation to this is that my family had fostered some dogs for a while. Well, we fostered a lot of dogs, and a lot of them had been used in like that type of research and everything, and just seeing how it traumatized them and what it did to them and the impact it had is just kind of why I decided to do this.
Okay.
So on the opposing side, some may argue that some of the products being tested need to be used on animals before being used on humans, just in case it causes problems. And then some of the major points that I plan on going off of is using dogs can lead to safer products for humans, but in doing so, many dogs or other animals are sent to their death so that humans can have a skincare product or a body wash. And then dogs used in animal testing are often traumatized and treated horribly.
Okay. Where are you going to come down on this whole thing?
So I'm just going to be on the side that it's not ethical to use them for testing because it traumatizes and basically can, just hurt them in many ways. And a lot of dogs die because of it, or stuff like that. So.
Okay, so what's going to be our opposite side? That you have a bunch of animals in shelters that are already there anyway and are going to be euthanized, so they might as well be used. What about that side?
Yes. So for that, it's pretty much just that a lot of people will argue that products being tested need to be used on animals before because it, just in case it'll cause problems to the people.
So would you recommend or advocate that shelter animals be used for that kind of experiment if they're going to be euthanized anyway?
No, I believe that no products should be tested on animals, and it is just because of the impact that it has. Which, I know that we have a lot of dogs in shelters and everything that will be euthanized, but It's the fact that in animal testing, they're tortured before.
Okay.
They're used and hurt and left in cages, and so that's kind of.
Okay, let's go a couple different directions there. What about mice?
I honestly, I didn't even think about that.
You know, or because mice get used for all kinds of experiments, and that's where you get into whether or not you think, you know, are animals sentient beings? So is a dog a sentient being? Does it have feelings?
Which, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Let's say cows, sentient beings. Okay. So once they are sentient beings, they have emotions theoretically.
Right.
We've seen, you know, they get sad if you're not around them. They're happy when you are around them. They get scared when they don't know what's going on. So one of the ways that we make an argument persuasive is we've got to appeal to people's feelings and emotions.
Okay.
And I don't think a lot of people think about animals as sentient beings.
Yeah.
And then, but how far down does that go?
Right.
You know, a fish feels pain when the hook goes into it. But does some of us care? No, because we're fishing. But is fishing okay? And then I think that it gets into a lot of other levels.
Right.
Hunting, okay? Is hunting okay? A lot of us, or I don't personally hunt, but I know a lot of people do. And it's how they get food for Thanksgiving and winter and everything, and deer hunting and all that. So I think it's an interesting argument, but I think there's lots of tangents that you could potentially go into. And
Right.
you got to think about, okay, laboratory animals, and the same with the monkeys. You know, people have long said that the monkeys should not be experimented on, yet they're the closest thing we have to a human to try and figure some stuff out.
Right.
And we do know some important studies have come out of animal testing that have helped people. So it's a good argument because there's lots of gray areas in there.
Right.
So,
I have something to add to that. And I'm not like saying that we shouldn't like I love animals, but I will say like there are brands out there that do ethically sourced things. Like they won't use animals to test their products on. One of those brands are like Lush, for example. I don't
Right.
know if y'all have ever heard of Lush. Like all their stuff is great and it's very ethically sourced. Like all their bottles are like it's even like down to like everything's recycled and the person who made it is like they have a picture of their face on it. They don't test on animals, but it's very expensive to not have ethically sourced things. So
Right.
that is one thing to think about because I also like the route of like not using things that were tested on whatever. But then I'm like, oh, why is it so expensive?
Yes, which I know there's like a few brands out there that are cheaper. Like there's one at Walmart, I think Bodycology is what it's called. And it's like on the cheaper side, but it's ethically sourced and it's not tested on animals. So I know like a lot of the times whenever, you know, they're ethically sourced or tested on animals, they're cheaper or they're more expensive when they're not tested. No, tested on animals, sorry. But they're cheaper when they're tested on animals, but there are a lot of things that go into it that can be, I guess, just less expensive, especially whenever you kind of look into it, which I need to look into it more and see if I can find a whole bunch of like products that, you know, aren't tested on animals, but
okay, anybody else? All right, good job. Yeah, you want to try it? You want to go up there and try it? Yeah, let's head back up there. We have 4 or 5 more minutes. Bailey has reconsidered.
Okay.
Background on the court. What do you?
I was going to talk about whether tipping culture should be a thing or not.
Tipping culture. Oh, like for service people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I worked in a restaurant where the cashier made all the tips, which made no
Okay.
sense. They would get like $2 each time they just press buttons.
Yeah.
And as a server, I make $2 an hour.
Right.
You can like walk out with $40 working 8 hours that day.
Okay.
It's really annoying.
So what's your argument going to be that? How
It
are you?
should be a thing, but it should be only in certain aspects. You shouldn't get tips for being a cashier. I don't think.
Okay. So you think that like when you go through Starbucks and you get a coffee that you shouldn't have to give them an extra
Okay, well the
dollar?
barista should get
The
a little bit
barista,
tips, I think.
but maybe not the window person.
No.
Okay, and what I would say on this is to look at international cultures, how in some places tipping is considered offensive. Like if you leave money in, just pick a country, Italy or Japan, it's considered a social faux pas because they're there to do their job and they're not expecting anything else out of that.
Yeah.
So then you get into the difference between tipping culture here, tipping elsewhere. So I think it's a good topic. Are you still working in that environment? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
I'm not
there's
a server anymore.
not a server, but still you see it all go on around you. Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be good. Let's go with that one. All right. Way to go. Way to rethink. Okay, let's talk some strategy here. You all have done a wonderful job. Even Caden, because he got up here when he wasn't ready and faced the grilling. So we just have a few minutes left. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that we haven't heard their proposals yet. So here's what we're going to do. Wednesday, for those of you watching at home that didn't make it to class today, Wednesday is your day to do your proposal. So let's say you were here today and you already did your proposal. Well, of course, you want to come back on Wednesday so you can see all the other scintillating proposals and provide your classmates some feedback. Or you need to be working on your argument so you're ready for next week, which is when we're going to start them, is on Monday. I would really like to do a practice and a final. So you get a chance to run through it. Let's see how it goes. I've had various people do their first time through and they're like, I think I want to do something else. Okay, change. But what I'm trying to get you in the process of is proposal, brainstorming. What are you going to do? Rough. Let's try this, see how it goes, get some feedback. Then a final, because that's how you should always be getting your speeches ready and your essays ready in classes. Brainstorm some, rough draft, let it sit for a minute, come back to it, revise it so you have a better final draft. So if you're here today, looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. However, if you're not here, I know you're watching on TV, right, David? I know you always watch when you're not here, right? Just say yes. Yes, there you go. And then you're going to come back next Monday. Now, how should we do this? Now, last time we went from the top to the bottom. Bailey, you want to go first next Monday, and we'll go backwards?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do that this time. We'll go the other direction. That'd be Bailey, Chia, ready to go next Monday? And then other ones will find out that they're going next Monday. That would get us like up to maybe Kelsey on Monday. And then David's on the bubble. You might go, you might not go. And then the following, well, Monday, and then the following Wednesday, the other group would go. I think that's how we'll do it this time. So we're going to say start from the bottom, and then I'll start with Bailey. So on Wednesday, what's going to happen is the other students who are not here, gives them a chance to do their proposal. And then what I'm going to do after that is once everybody gets through their proposal, I'll have, depending on how much time it takes, we might have a video of an argumentative speech that I find somewhere that you can watch. But I just want to let you know, if you've been here today and you've done your proposal, you're good till next Monday. But of course, it's always good, I think, to come to class, especially if you live here on campus, support your fellow classmates and just see what's going on. Okay? So I'll leave that up to you. Questions or comments?
Did you say it's 5 minutes we'll have, and then is it like in between a persuasive and argumentative? Or is it like more of one or the other?
They're really just, you're trying to persuade us of your topic, and you're using argumentative techniques to get there. It's 2 words for the same thing, really.
Okay, sounds good. Do we need like a visual anything?
No visual, but facts is what you want. And if you want to put some facts on a piece of paper, that'd be all right. Okay? All right, we'll see y'all.